Traders, Delta Airline. More so on the, probably on the whole sector. Nick Shaheen here, by the way. And subscribe, before I forget, subscribe to this channel. It's free. Somewhere a link either down below or at the end if the video doesn't get cut off. These days are getting cut off. I don't know why. So here's the daily chart for about a year worth of data for Delta. Is it time to start shorting here? First of all, I know a little bit about the company, and I know that historically airlines have been hated because they always find ways to mess things up. These days, since every time I fly it costs me $1 bazillion, they nitpick me at everything, I'm going to think that they'll probably fix that, unless they're real idiots, which is possible. Then they're squandering their monies. I don't know. But let's talk current fundamentals based on the assumption that they are not idiots and based on the charts. So there are clues everywhere. Recently, I don't know what happened here. The recession, maybe it hits that people are going to stop flying. I doubt that. So this may be overdone. So is it a time to bail out of my stock? So here are my thoughts. If I'm long the stock and I didn't get out already, this varies from time frame, from person to person, then this is not the place I get out. Why? Because this was an emphatic bounce back in June, the May low, June low, the May correction low. And look at the rally that happened right after that. Clearly, this is a momentum stock. I don't know why, but it is. Moreover, that's a Ben Bernanke word. Okay. And if I extend it, look at that. I had this green line here. It was drawn a long time ago. I'm going to say last year. The October correction, there was a must-hold level, which was right here and right here. And once it was lost, it was like a big head and shoulders. And I said, conservatively, this is where it should go. And it went way below that because the whole market just collapsed. Sentiment was terrible. So this, to me, is no bueno. Not likely to return without real reason. So now we're here. Okay, early in the year, bam, bam, huge resistance. And then just before the earnings, maybe they pre-announced or something. And then they faded it out. But the important thing is they held it. So I'm going to say that this was support. What was resistance now became support. This is what they say, right? Which is perfect because right here, onus is on the bulls to take that level and use it as support. They took that level, it took their time to use it as support, but they did. This way they can find footing to mount the rest of the rally. That's why you get these ABC patterns that everybody talks about. Here's one push that failed, and then the second leg of it, right? And usually they say it's about half. That's how it works out. Self-fulfilling prophecy, you be the judge. Don't care. It happens. Okay, so here's another neckline. In fact, this is the point of control for the whole year. What does that mean? Of all this junk, of all this action that happened all over here, the area of interest has been between here and here. That's where all the volume happened. Okay, the range. Of this range, this is where they agreed the most. Meaning here is where they fought the hardest, buyers and sellers. And this happens to be a little mini level. It's not a coincidence. Look at that. Not a coincidence. And look at that exact ledge from which they fell apart recently, last 3 days. Okay, so what does that mean? This is support until proven otherwise. So right here, onus is on the bears, the sellers, to prove that they can, just like the opposite of this, that they can go below and then come back to it and then sell it back down again for a lower low. Otherwise, this is support until proven otherwise. So if I'm long the stock and I haven't panicked out of it, if I panicked out of it here, sweet, I'm fast. If I didn't, I'm stuck. Is this a place I get out? No, I want to see the next leg, lower or not. If I'm nervous, I can buy some puts to cover me. And buying puts on a bad day is not a good idea. It's like calling for insurance rates while you're crashing a car. Nobody's going to give you a quote, and if they do, it's going to be too expensive for you to buy, or to make money, or for you to make sense of it. So this is the answer to quickly on the one-day chart. Now there are different time frames. This is for somebody who's in it for the least midterm. So the levels vary from time frame to time frame. So what happens if I go to a weekly? Okay, so now we get more clarity. This is 5 years worth of data-ish. Same lines we were looking at. This is the place where not to leave. This is a proven support. And look how pivotal this place is. It has been, oh my gosh. Okay, so that line we drew, I'm going to draw it again on a weekly basis. So it's even more significant. First of all, this is the value area on the weekly basis. This is the range where they want to fight it out, where they have fought it out. What does that mean? It means they just are fighting for the top end of it, the value area. They're fighting for the top end. Usually on the way down, that top end is support. Okay, so that's the bottom line that we're at today. That's the support that was proven. And here is support with a question mark. That was our question. And it's been pivotal for a while. I'm just going to extend it left. So look at this. Peak. So it was R, and then failed breakout, pivot around it, successful breakout, and then support, with dinks below. So I can argue that, this is the Christmas crash. This is the one I said, over exaggeration, but it's the worst case scenario. So if the Christmas crash was the worst case scenario, and if I'm selling puts for income, this is where I'd hide. I'd go out in time, sell these puts, and go on vacation. And if they put me the stock at 40, then I got paid to buy the stock, $7 cheaper than where it is right now. So not a big deal. It all depends on time frame. So this is a pivotal level. So if I'm in it for the super long term, again, this is not a place to leave it. However, if they start doing this and then they come back to it, now they start asking, is this a head and shoulder, a big head and shoulder on a weekly basis? And if so, then you're going to get that whoosh down and you're going to put the stock over here. And this is where we'd say, oh, look at this. This is a pivotal level from way before. That's 2017 and 2017. So time frames, different decisions. But both agree that this is not the time to exit. So let me go back to 1 day. In fact, I'm going to go back to a couple of hours, 2-hour charts. There's not much to be said here because of the big whoosh down. So if somebody is day trading, then they go back to a 30-minute, 15-minute. I like 15 minutes usually. You can see that this was the whoosh down. Now we're back to the half back. So this is the same on any time frame. Same concept. You get a big move, Fibonacci, 50% retracement. Now what? So now there's a decision. So if I'm not long yet, I don't start long here. I want to see them do this, come back to it, and then build upon it to fill this little gap. Okay, so the fight is going to be around 53.50, if I'm seeing this right, for the short-term control. Okay, so fundamentals, believe it or not, they matter. So Delta, I think, is of the best ones out there. I'm pretty sure they don't have any exposure to 737 MAX. So whether Boeing releases a refly that plane or not, they're not going to have a problem adding flights if they need to. Also, it's pretty cheap, relatively speaking. It sells at 9 PE and at like 0.7 times sales. So it sells at less than 1 time sales, which is pretty conservative. Is it cheap? I don't know, but those are the metrics. It's cheap in absolute terms, an 8 PE, and it pays a dividend. So yes, it's cheap from that perspective. It can get cheaper. I remember Micron went to under 3 PE. 3. So cheap can get cheaper. However, if I wanted to bet on an airline, this is probably the one I pick. So let's look at American. I think it's AAL. Yeah. Okay, American. That's an uglier chart. It's setting lower lows and lower highs. I'm going to go back to the other one. This one isn't. So Love. Similar to Delta. So I could pick Love, Southwest. But I think all they have is 737s. But I'm not sure how many Maxes. So here's another reason why I don't buy Southwest if I'm looking to buy it. I want to see for the long term. I want to see what happens here. This has been this red thing. I don't remember where that's from. So now we're talking about a different company. Yeah. So anyway, this is an opportunity here. So you can see the time. You can draw lines anywhere. It depends on the time frame. Clearly, this zone is a fail. So if I'm long it and it gets up to here, I'd get out and see if they can go above it and come back down on a shorter time frame. Okay, so, but again, this is not a place to leave it because it is proven support on this time frame, which is a daily. So 15 minutes for the faster trader. Never fails. Hold on. All right, back to business. Don't remember where I left it. I'm probably talking about the fact that the 15-minute chart shows higher lows knocking on a neckline. I don't start buying until I see them break above the neckline and come back down. So 52.50 in this case also is a decision point versus if they can maintain this higher low. The range is getting tighter, but all these comments will be the same on any time frame for any chart. So back to the original company we were talking about. Oh, and for Delta Airline, I think the technicals are still not bullish unless you get down to the lower time frame. So meaning it is trying to put a bottom, technically speaking. Now tomorrow we have NFP, the jobs number from the government. As much as you believe these numbers, they're going to move markets. I think too hot of a number will cause a downfall in the market. That's my opinion, because that kind of ties the hands of the Fed as far as cutting rates. Too low of a number will cause a bigger sell-off because we are in a bad sentiment week with regards to ISM. So now the U.S. economy is in doubt. If jobs are not there, then we are definitely headed to recession. So the job number can erase that. So keep that in mind. Short term, there might be catalysts. They don't change the facts unless we get like major news that actually change the fact. But these fiddly crap here, it doesn't change the midterm facts for this one. So one can argue here that Delta Airline is already in a breakdown, and it's close to what are the head and shoulder-ish pattern. They attacked the neckline, the neckline broke. Obviously, you have to draw it here and somewhere around here. And then technicians will tell you, they're pretty smart people, that it should go down to here, as big as this. I usually say yes, which makes sense because this is exactly the middle of this consolidation zone, but there's also this line to contend with. So first stop here. So maybe they do this, they bounce a little bit, and they fall back to here. Meaning, whenever I'm catching a falling knife, I don't grab it with both. It might turn out to be a machete or something, but nibble. Start with half. That's my opinion. All right, VIX signing up. And buying calls on a day where the VIX is spiking. Actually, today's VIX is red, but it's still high, like closer to 20 than 15. I'm paying for a premium, so I'd rather be selling. So in this case, I'd rather sell puts or put spreads in order to generate income when VIX is spiking and when there's demand on the puts. So people are running to buy puts. I would do the homework and say, you know what? Yeah, I'll buy the shares from you at 48, and I'll sell that $48 put. I didn't look at premiums, but I'm imagining they'd be hot for December period of time. So if somebody wants protection at 48, I do the homework and say, you know what? At 48, it'll be a good deal because of this, the Christmas crash. This is where we stop. I'll take them. I'll buy them at 48 if we get there. They give you the premium. If nothing happens, it stays at 48 and 1 penny, then they wasted their premium. All right, next signing out.